The Buzz with Albert Rodriguez, featuring Michele Cash, Candace Barnes, and Karen Moore. And now, your host, Albert Rodriguez.
Welcome to The Buzz. We have our first guest here today. Her name is Michele Cash, and she is from Florida Southern College, and she's here to talk to us about stress management for students at colleges. How you doing?
Good. Who's that?
So, Miss Michele, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I was born in New Jersey. I went to my undergrad at East Stroudsburg University in Pennsylvania for counseling psychology. And then I got my master's degree in public relations down at Rowan University in South Jersey. I moved down here about 3 years ago for the job at Florida Southern. Now I oversee all of our fitness and wellness programs for the department and also oversee some of our marketing initiatives there as well.
So, how do you like Lakeland?
I like Lakeland a lot. It's very small, but yet very big as well, which is really nice because then you get to know a lot of the people here that are around. So everybody's been very welcoming and very friendly. It's amazing. I can't really get out of the grocery store without meeting somebody new or just being at Publix and how friendly they are. So it's been great so far. Yeah, I certainly don't miss the winters in New Jersey at all. I haven't really had any ice or snow that I've had to deal with. I've always said that I had the black ice when I was in school and walking to class and everything on campus, and now I don't have to deal with that, which is very nice. So
You see, I know where you're coming from because I lived in New York for a while as a kid, near the Hudson, so I kind of know the whole issue with, I mean, snow is great, but it's overrated as heck. I mean, it's beautiful during Christmas, but every other day it's just a pain in the back.
That's right.
So you work at Florida Southern.
Yep, work at Florida Southern.
And can you tell us a little bit about the campus? I know it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and when I went to Harrison, I had the opportunity to do photography on the campus, and I really, really love the campus. I haven't had the chance to run on the rooftops because they're really low. So, but it was great for photography. So.
Yep, Florida Southern College is one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever been able to be a part of. Yep, we do have all of our Frank Lloyd Wright sculptures on campus and all of our buildings. We are building a new business department. I don't know if you've seen it around Lake Hollingsworth yet, but it's coming together. We have about 2,200 to 2,400 students now on campus, but the people and the staff and faculty there are awesome, and the students are getting a great experience there.
Could you enlighten me as to what life on the campus is like? Is it, for the student at least, is it a lot of partying, or is it studying with a little partying, or is it a mixture of both?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know so much outside of Florida Southern what they do in their spare time, and that's probably a good thing because some of them work for me, so I don't really get to hear all of the weekend type of stuff. But it's a very small campus. I mean, it's large enough to where you meet somebody different all the time, but yet the students are getting a great experience with the faculty and staff because the classrooms are a little bit smaller. We also have, in the wellness department where I'm working at, you get to know a lot of the students that come in and out of there, so it's a very personable relationship that you can make with them. So students that don't necessarily sign up for Group X classes or personal training with me, I do get to meet them in other aspects. So whether it's intramural sports or being out at the pool, it's just a great way to really connect with all of the students versus a larger school where you get away from some of that, where you get about 20,000 students, you don't really meet as many and make those connections. So it's a great place for the students to have great relationships with a few different departments on campus.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember when I wanted to go to UCF when I was younger, and when I toured the campus, it was like the size of a small city.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get lost here. Might as well not go.
Yep.
So, all the questions set aside, let's get to the topic of stress and fitness. What types of things can be a cause of stress for college students?
It's really, it really depends on who it is. College students, I feel, They have just as much stress as adults do. I mean, for the most part, when they graduate high school, they're sent on their own, and here it is. Now you have to basically fend for yourself. Okay, how are you gonna prep your meals? How are you gonna stay active? What sororities or fraternities are you gonna join? Do you need a job? And if so, how are you gonna balance that out? So it's a lot of stuff that we all deal with, except now they're becoming an adult. So that stress of becoming an adult, which, kind of being out in the real world, there's a lot of stressors that come into that, and I think for the most part that's what they're starting to experience, and that's what they're starting to deal with.
Yeah, I can agree with that. When I left high school, it wasn't really great because high school didn't really teach me anything about life outside of high school. All got me ready for college. So, things like resume building, if it wasn't for my family, I probably would have never gotten my first job.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look, when I was in college too, I was working on campus in the wellness department or the recreation department, it's interchangeable with each school, but I learned so many of my life skills just from having a job on campus, and if I didn't have that, I might not have been where I'm at today either. So, like I said before, with having such a small campus, you get to know everybody, and we have such great resources for them on campus, the career services that we have in the counseling center and the wellness department, so they can get all of those skills to help them when they do graduate.
So would you say this culture shock, this complete change is one of the reasons college students experience incredibly high levels of stress relative to the rest of society?
I think so. When I was in college, I certainly felt that stress too. Moving away from home is a big piece to it. We have a lot of students that are international students, so coming from a completely different country just to be on an athletics team, I mean, that's a huge stressor, leaving everything that you know just to come down here for college, because our coaches are incredible and we're a great school for our athletics team. So it's taking that chance and coming here, and it's for students that are coming from New York, New Jersey, it's still the same thing. So I believe that it is a huge stressor for them. Getting to know their roommate, that's huge. Living with somebody that you don't even have any idea who it is. So it's huge.
A huge culture shock.
Yep.
See, I go to community college, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yep. And Lakeland is very different from most other towns. I mean, from where I grew up, having just the downtown area is completely different from where I'm from. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What would you say is a really effective way for a college student to handle stress? Like, finals coming up, got dumped by the girlfriend, got fired at the same time. I don't know. What would you say is a really good way to handle that type of mounting stress?
Well, there's a few different ways. I wouldn't say that one maybe works better than the other, because everybody's very different. For me, it's a lot of journaling or practicing yoga, exercising. So with those said, I would say exercising at least 3 to 5 days a week, and it doesn't have to be high intensity exercise where, all of that research is coming out now and talking about how intense it has to be, or, all of the other trends that we have going on. It can be just a basic walk around the block just to clear your head. Sleeping is huge. I know so many college students, when they come in during finals week, it's, how many hours did you sleep last night? Oh, I maybe got an hour or 2 hours, and it's just, okay, go home, come back later when you feel refreshed. But, I've had that a lot with some of my student employees coming in, and they're studying for tests, then they come to work, and then they go take the test, and it's just, okay, sleeping is one of your biggest things that's going to help you with stress. And then eating healthy. I do a lot of nutrition coaching on campus as well, and it's amazing how some students only come in and maybe eat one time during that day. So having more of a consistent eating pattern is definitely going to help with that. And then, like I touched on before, meditation and yoga. I mean, just sitting down for 10 minutes for some people is the hardest thing in the world. But the more you do it and the more you practice it, the easier that becomes.
So basically,
I know all of those things.
All of that stuff. It sounds like fitness really is a really core part of stress management.
Yep, certainly is. ACSM guidelines, American College of Sports Medicine, they are telling us at least 3 to 5 days a week of moderate activity. And, there's a lot of research that goes behind that. You know, exercise is medicine. I don't know if you've ever heard of that initiative before, but it truly is, and you know, we really need to continue to build this relationship with students and build that culture with them so they have the knowledge and they can work on their stress management now before they do graduate.
Well, I can't say that I always went to fitness as a way to get rid of my stress. I mean, I wonder if competitive eating counts, but
Competitive eating?
I like having chocolate when I'm really stressed.
Oh, right, yeah.
But swimming's a great way, I guess. I like swimming.
Yeah, we have the beautiful pool. I don't know if you've seen our pool on campus.
I have a friend who's a lifeguard there. Well, was a lifeguard. He's in the Army now, and totally jealous.
Yeah.
I love swimming. So, I mean, I have a tiny community pool, and then to see that pool, I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, swimming's a great piece as well. There's so much that you can do, and we have the counseling center on campus as well. So, you know, when some of the students come to one of us, we only have a certain length of scope of practice. So I can only say, try meditating, try yoga, try journaling or sleeping. So we can always refer them to the counseling center, and our counselor, Tom, he does a great job with stress management and doing it the natural way without having to you know, go out to another doctor and get a prescription. Of course, you know, that's always good for whoever needs it in the extreme of the case, but he has meditation offered to students Monday through Friday from 4:30 to 5. So it's a great opportunity for them. It's just getting that message out there. So.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show with us. It was fun.
Yes, thank you.
But we will now be going to a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be speaking to our guests from the Peace River Center.
That's my mommy.
In this journey, we all have a role. Every life counts on you knowing yours.
Welcome back to The Buzz. Now it's time to welcome Peace River Center's dynamic duo, Karen Moore and Candace Barnes. How you guys doing?
Great. We're happy to be here.
So, Karen, why don't you tell us your position at Peace River Center?
Okay. I am the manager of our wellness clinic, which is a primary care clinic, which is new to Peace River. Most of you know in this community, Peace River Center is historically considered mental health, and that's majority of what we do, but we now have primary care, so we offer integrated care. You know, patient is seen not just as, you know, for their neck up, but their whole body, and so we're happy to open our clinic, and we've been open since March of 2013, and we're seeing a lot of patients and helping a lot of people. We're talking about stress management today, and stress and wellness. So this was a study that was done last year of students in University of Georgia, and the study was done by American College of Health Association, and they said that emotional factors that negatively impacted student academic success, that 30% of patients reported stress got in the way of their success in college. 22%, as Michelle mentioned, talked about sleep and the importance of sleep, and 22% or 24% had sleep difficulty issues. 23% had problems with anxiety. You know, so all those stressors of moving out of the house and all the things that were previously mentioned are hugely impactful, and
well, that's what we're going to discuss today.
Yep. Thank you.
And Ms. Candace, why don't you tell us your position at Peace River?
Well, at Peace River Center, I'm the director of our outpatient services. And outpatient services are basically the traditional, you come into an office and you meet a therapist for therapy. And at Peace River Center, we have services across 3 different counties in our area. We have services in Polk County, in Highlands County, and Hardy County. And we have outpatient clinics in all of those places. We also have satellite offices around town in Lakeland and some other places. And we're working to kind of get involved in integrated healthcare. which is kind of the same thing that Karen was talking about that we're doing at our wellness clinic. So we brought medical services into our traditional mental health center, and now we're trying to put our therapists out in the community in traditional medical centers, recognizing that people's mental health issues affect their physical health and trying to work with the whole person. So in terms of stress, I think that the biggest problem that happens when people think about stress, for people of any age, not just students, is they think that it's primarily a mental issue. You know, you just need to not be stressed about that. And well, I don't know about you, but the last time somebody told you just need to not, do this and make this change, I don't know how easy that is for you, but for me, if somebody said you just can't have cookies anymore, I would say, well, that's just not going to happen.
Oh yeah.
So change isn't quite as easy as we sometimes like to brush things off and make it seem. So there's a lot going on in a person's mind, body, whenever stress and anxiety are happening. And of those stress factors that impact a student especially, of the top 10 most stressful things, the number one thing, according to the University of Boston, is relationships. And if you think about, for students, relationships are changing so much. Whether or not they are living at home or they're on campus, there is some level of detachment from the parental unit of some sort. Then if they're living on campus, there's the new roommate. You've lost all of your high school kind of circle of friends in most cases, and you have this whole new situation to navigate where there's no one telling you what to do, where to be, and that you have to go there. So in high school, when you miss a class, what will happen? Somebody's going to track you down and you're going to get in trouble and your parents are going to find out about it. In most college situations, if that happens,
That does not happen.
no one's tracking down your parents and telling on you. Nobody cares. So a whole new level of responsibility is passed on to onto a young person that they may or may not have been well prepared to take on, and that creates just all kinds of havoc.
Well, that's what we're here. I got a question for both
Go
of y'all.
ahead.
You guys can tag team it or take turns on answering this one, but could you just, we already touched bases on this right now, but I mean, what are some of the major causes of stress for college students and just anyone in general?
Well, some of the things have already been mentioned. Certainly all the change that's involved with moving out, fending for yourself, feeding yourself, doing your laundry, meeting new people, having to maintain a budget, having to maintain a schedule, an important schedule. All these things without the guidance of parents or the structure that you had before, they're not there anymore, and so it's extremely stressful. Relationships, for that age group, adolescence, your developmental tasks are related to your relationships, and so all your relationships are changing. So it's very disruptive for a young adult. I like to focus on avoidable stress. There's stress that's going to come, certainly you're in college, there's stress related to that, but there's avoidable stress. And for me, an avoidable stress, the most simple example is if you're always late for work, if you push the snooze button 3 times and then you can get in trouble because you're tardy, that's avoidable stress. If you just wake up earlier, that's a stressor you're not going to have in the workplace, at school. So you can build in success. You can avoid creating stressors. And that's a lot of times you just think about stress that's going to come, that all of us have. And then there's stress that we create for ourselves. I was looking at the same data. They said that 43% of these students, they reported driving after they've been drinking. Well, gee whiz, you could probably get some legal social consequences, and that's stress producing. 38% of them did something that they later regretted. Again, creating more stress for yourself. 34% forgot where they were or what they did. Imagine the stress related to that. 22% had unprotected sex. Again, stress producing events that really are avoidable. And so you can prevent creating stress for yourself, and that's a huge help. Stacking the deck in your favor. Again, sleep. Being well prepared for your life. Working on time management so that you're not creating problems that you then have to be stressed about, and
Just being
Yeah.
just being wise and to not make things harder for yourself. pretty much
don't
what you're
create
saying.
problems for yourself,
Yes,
because
being
life
wise.
is
Because then you have to clean up the mess. and
exactly.
That's
Life
not
is
fun.
stressful enough, so don't create stressors for yourself.
That is a good point. I came into this segment thinking, oh, let's talk about stress. How do you manage it? And never once did I think, maybe I'm the problem.
There you go.
That could be it. Well, do you guys think stress is related to upbringing as well, and to a certain culture? For example, I know that in Japan, suicide rates are somewhat higher than in the United States, and that's because they're brought up to incredibly ridiculous standards. I mean, I've heard of companies in Japan, they have stations where employees actually sleep in the company, wake up, do some more work, and then sleep. And this is overnight. I'm not talking about your cat nap. I'm talking about they actually live there for a couple days to do paperwork. I mean, do you think upbringing and culture has a lot to do with it?
It can certainly play into it. There are so many things that play into your level of stress. It could be your culture. It could be you have a very, high stress parent that passed on those particular coping skills to you. I mean, there's so much that plays into whether or not somebody is more stressed than another person. You can have, 5 people that come from the same parents and 4 never get stressed and 1 is stressed all the time. There's a lot that plays into it. But I think a really important thing to look at when you're talking about managing stress, I know we've already heard about some physical fitness and things like that, and some just practical coping skills. But on the very basic level, what is your support system? And while that changes when you go to college, it's really important to be proactive and build an evolving support system. There are usually lots and lots of opportunities on campus for support, but you also have to think about life beyond college. Someday, hopefully you're going to get that degree and leave that campus, hopefully in about 4 years. And if you're planning on staying in that area, it would be really great to reach out into your community and find places to be plugged in. Because on the other end of it, acclimating to college is a huge time of stress and emotional crisis for a lot of people, but acclimating to being done with college is equally as stressful because people have this group that they've developed and rely on, and all of a sudden they're all leaving and going other places, and they no longer have those people that they just kind of wound down with,
Culture shock.
Yeah, different kind of culture shock. And there's so many places in your community where you can find the sources of support, whether it's different clubs or groups. If you are spiritual, a church group, there's just, you could join a gym. There's so many things you can do in your community to kind of spread your circle of support.
I think about stress triggers, being aware of what triggers you and what does stress you. I know that if there's too much clutter in my environment, I'm not as effective. I get too defocused, I get too scattered, and I can't focus on my task because there's too many things on the table or something. And if you're aware of what stresses you, a certain person, a certain attitude, you can have control and take control of your environment. And I think everyone is really empowered to manage their own stress. That's what we do at the Wellness Clinic. We try to, we offer yoga, like Michele talked about at Florida Southern College, and we offer yoga and stress management, those kind of things at the Wellness Clinic too, at Peace River Center, and certainly the therapists do. And it's paramount. If you don't handle your stress, people say your stress will handle you, and you'll get ulcers and you'll get headaches, and you really won't know why. Michele mentioned diet as well. Again, hugely important. If your blood sugar is 70, you might not do so well on the test. And if your blood pressure, as you're indicating, your blood pressure is 200, you're probably not going to feel real well either. So knowing what your triggers, your stress triggers are, and avoiding those triggers and managing those triggers is, I think, very helpful for everyone, students and everyone.
And asking for more help whenever that feels unmanageable. There is a really high link between anxiety and depression, and you'd be surprised how quickly one can lead to the other. And I know that I've worked with college-age kids who have explained to me, some different symptoms that they have going on, and they explain their schedule, and they get up and they go to class. They come back, they take a nap. They go to dinner, they take a nap. They go to bed at night. And after you do some math and you see you're sleeping 16 hours a day. That's not healthy. That is usually a trigger or a sign of depression.
That is a little crazy if you ask me, but that sounds like my life. But I want to thank you guys for being here. We're going to go to a commercial break right now, and after that we will head on to our news segment of the show.
That's my dad.
In this journey, we all have a role. Every life counts on you knowing yours.
Welcome back. Now it's time for today's news segment of this episode. After a long battle over the state budget, the Florida legislature finally reached an agreement. Much of the holdup on the budget had been between House and Senate Republicans hashing out whether or not to use federal funding for the expansion of Medicaid to help aid in state health care costs. The new $79 billion budget will not include federal dollars for health care, but it does boast $400 million in tax cuts, a new bonus program for teachers, and a school funding increase of 3% per student. In local news, the city of Lake Wales has adopted a new fire assessment fee for its residents. The city fire department, which was funded through the general fund, will now be subsidized through the $150 fire assessment fee, which is estimated to bring in $1.2 million. The decision to add the fee followed the Polk County Fire Rescue's decision not to renew the $250,000 it was providing in the outside protection agreement. Because of the revenue generated by the new assessment fee, the city was able to reduce their property tax by $1 million, cutting nearly $500,000 from their general fund. Lake Wales is just one of the cities in the county looking to restructure funding for fire services after the county announced its decision to eliminate many of its outside protection agreements. There's big news on the campus of Florida Southern College as they sign an agreement with the Ledger and WTSP Channel 10 News to bring an official Polk County newsroom to the school. The partnership will provide collaboration between the newspaper and the WTSP full-time Polk County reporter to bring more in-depth news from around the county. Now it is time for our events. You see, July is here, and that means lots of hot dogs and parties to celebrate our nation's independence and birthday. Cities all around the county have planned celebrations for Polk County residents. Lakeland's, in fact, will hold its own annual Red, White, and Kaboom, which will take place on July 3rd, while most other cities will celebrate on July 4th. To get a full listing of Independence Day celebrations, go to visitcentralflorida.org. Now that you know what's going on, it's time to know what's being said. And that brings us to our Word of the Day segment. And our word of the day is atrophy, meaning the gradual decline in effectiveness or vigor due to underuse, neglect, or overuse. Now that's about all the time we have for now, but remember you can catch replays of this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 and 7, or visit the Polk County YouTube page to see all of our current and previous episodes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time here on The Buzz.